We've been listening there to testimony from defense witness Elizabeth Laposata, a forensic pathologist, medical examiner, and professor at Brown University, testifying in the Karen Read murder retrial. Laposata testified that in her professional opinion, John O'Keefe did not die of hypothermia. Now, that contradicts the prosecution's assertion that Karen Read hit O'Keefe with her SUV and then left him to die in the snow. Laposata also echoed testimony from a previous defense witness that some of John O'Keefe's injuries are consistent with a dog attack, not being hit by a car. Let's bring in ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin and civil trial attorney Tre Lovell for more. Olivia, how critical is this testimony? A second witness for the defense now questioning the prosecution's assertion of what happened here, and again saying he looks like he was attacked by a dog. At least some of these injuries were not caused by a car.
Well, she's giving them what they need, right? These are the two lanes they want to go down, the hypothermia and the dog bite. They're trying to feed the jury alternate theories that they could go off of in order to give them this not guilty verdict that they're looking for. So again, she's pretty credible. They went through her, her credentials, that she's worked at Brown. She said she's looked at hundreds, if not thousands of cases. So she's giving them another opinion to go off of, whereas we've seen some of the prosecution witnesses have some credibility issues. Remember that one witness who lied about his resume. So they have a good, credible witness giving the jury something else to go off of.
And Tre, unlike the prosecution, the defense does not have to prove their theory beyond a reasonable doubt. They just have to raise enough doubt that the prosecution's assertion of what happened could be wrong. What are you watching for during cross-examination, and how do you think they've done with this witness so far?
I think they're doing a good job with this witness. She's really coming to two serious and significant points: the challenge against the hypothermia, and kind of tying it to an animal-based attack. I think one thing that's kind of interesting. I think the defense probably wanted to get her to be able to give an opinion that it was a dog, but the court may have pulled that back, saying there may not either be qualifications enough to actually tie it to a specific animal, but they were able to get it in, certainly, overall. Now, the jury's never going to hear that, but, I think the defense wanted to take it a little bit further, but I think the judge pulled them back.
Oh, I see. So they stopped when she was saying the incisors and the canines and whatnot. They didn't allow her to go so far as to say specifically belonging to a dog, just an animal in general.
Yes, that's correct.
Olivia, what are you watching for next year?
More witnesses, which is notable because this trial has now officially gone longer than the first trial did. There were closing arguments on the 31st day of testimony in her first trial. We're now on day 31, and the defense has indicated that they do have more witnesses. They've indicated they have another expert who's going to take the stand, one of those crash reconstruction experts, which we've seen a lot of in this case here. And then the prosecution, again, has a rebuttal case. They said they have two more witnesses they're going to put on. That will take about 2 hours. So it's getting a little tight. If this could end today, it could go in to tomorrow. And then there is closing arguments and then jury instructions. But it does still seem like the jury is going to get the case this week. It's just a question of on what day. But again, already gone longer than the first one.
Tre, what are you watching for when the prosecution gets a chance to question this witness?
They're going to go after the methodology. They're going to probably suggest things that she may not have looked at, things that their experts had pointed out to, and really and challenge the hypothermia, certainly, and also probably challenge the testimony about the animal. There's certain ways that an attorney can go after an expert. But the experts are very intelligent. So, it's always kind of a battle of wits. But they're going to launch off their own experts and try to get her to make certain concessions. They're not going to get everything, but they're going to get certain concessions, and then they make the arguments to the jury.
All right, Olivia Rubin, Tre Lovell, thank you both.